House Speaker Paul Ryan says the Republican...
Well, Walter was... Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Moscow Public Works and Finance Committee meeting, regular meeting, for March 27, 2017. Joining me here today is Walter Steed on my right and Gina Teruscio on my left, and Gary Riedner representing the staff of the City of Moscow. First item on our agenda this afternoon is approval of the Public Works Finance Committee March 13, 2017 minutes.
I would move approval or move, I guess, consent agenda for that.
Correct.
Do that? I'd make that motion, please.
And I was not here, so
He's abstaining.
I see nothing wrong with them, but I wasn't
Three
here.
of us will do that.
I say that's
So,
a good thing.
Call that a pass.
Okay.
Gary's got that down.
Yes, sir.
Good.
You know what to do. Okay, number 2, annual weed spray contract. Tyler Palmer is going to tell us about that. We're going to control the noxious weeds within the City of Moscow.
We're going to try. All right. Thank you, councilors. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this afternoon. This is our annual weed spray contract that we have before you. As indicated in the name, this is an annual thing we do. We have noxious weeds, which by law we have to try and control, and because we want to try and control noxious weeds within city limits, they can cause us a lot of problems for a lot of reasons. We've had a contractor of record for several years now, Scholl Brothers. They've really been an asset to the city because they are very familiar with the areas that we see early emergence of weeds, which parts of town we see them, different types of noxious weeds. And one of the things we really appreciate is that they're also very familiar with our no spray list, which is also included in your packet, which is a mechanism by which people who agree to maintain the weeds on and in front of their property can exempt themselves from the spraying, so we won't spray in front of those. You know, some people have organic gardens and they don't want to spray in the vicinity, things like that. And so and a lot of times it's repeat people on that list. We advertise every year so that people can join the list. But Scholl Brothers is also very familiar with where those properties are at. And so they've been really good to work with. Cost is very reasonable this year. This quote came in under budget for this amount, and so we are recommending approval of the contract with Scholl Brothers for the 2017 weed spray contract. This was reviewed by the Sustainable Environment Commission. We take our chemical list to the Sustainable Environment Commission each year. We've done that for the last several years. Based on their recommendations, we have removed certain chemicals from the list in the past, and we continue to work with them on both the right-of-way spraying, and they're looking at the pesticide and herbicide use in parks as well. And so we really appreciate the Sustainable Environment's efforts to help us refine this list and make sure that it reflects the desires of the community in our weed control practices.
Thank you, Tyler. I see that the no spray list is only 7 people long, so they should be able to deal with that, no problem.
It's varied over the years. You know, it's been as much as about 24, but over the last, I guess 4 or 5 years, it seems to have tailed off a little bit, and not quite as many.
Because of the change in chemical use?
It potentially could be. It could have something to do with that.
I just had a question about the no spray list. You mentioned that these people will volunteer or do their own weed control. How do we make sure that's happening?
The really great eyes and ears for the city are our sweepers. Our street sweepers really act as our eyes and ears because they go down every single road and they're really paying close attention to the roadway surface. And so where they see, spotted knapweed in a crack or something like that, they'll report back, and that helps us inform Scholl Brothers. So they'll get in touch and send emails and say, hey, we're noticing this emerging in this area, and then they've really been very good about responding to those areas. Okay. And so that's how we kind of double up on those duties and have our sweepers act as the control to make sure that we're getting compliance.
Okay. So there's really not necessarily an enforcement.
We haven't had to go to enforcement. I mean, if it did get to that point, ordinance enforcement would become involved because there are noxious weeds that are listed that have to be controlled, but we haven't reached that point.
Well, it's good that it's a positive thing and it's working. So
it's working
good.
well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I guess I would recommend we send this forward for approval and put it on the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
No one disagrees? You okay with that, Mr. Steed?
I'm okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler. Okay, item number 3 on today's agenda is Sanitary Sewer Trunk Line Phase 5 bid award. And Kevin Lilly will tell us what's going on there. Looks like he's got some sort of electronic presentation.
I asked for some pictures of show and tell.
If you don't mind, we'll have discussion first and then show and tell. Last month, we advertised the Phase 5 of the trunk line, sanitary sewer trunk line project. It's a continuation at Phase 5. We've had 4 previous phases working from the sewage treatment plant this way east. This particular phase will install 1,400 feet of 36-inch diameter sanitary sewer main, basically from the southeast corner of Gormley Park to the north side of College Street, where we have an existing dry stub waiting for that to be hooked up so it can flow to the plant. As part of this, you'll see in one of my slides here, we have to cross 6th Street. 6th Street is like Spaghetti Junction with different pipes, water, sewer, storm, and sanitary. And a lot of those are out of their use, beyond their useful life. So what we're going to include in the project is a reconstruction of that section of 6th Street from Taco Time to the bridge there before you get to Deacon. It's going to be pretty much the whole width is going to be torn up anyway to replace the pipes. So, and it is also not in the best of shape. So we're going to improve those pipes and also the sidewalks on both sides. Not completely on the north side. There's some that's decent. We're going to leave that walk, but there will be segments of walk that are replaced, and we will replace the walk on the south side. The pipe is going to go from Gormley across on the west side of the ATM that's there, the Wells Fargo ATM, and I'll show you a photo, but and then go around the HR building of the U of I before it heads to College Street. There's also, go ahead.
Does that little piece of railroad track where it crosses the 6th, does that come out as part of this project?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, as I mentioned, there
You don't
is
like that on your bike.
I don't like it, period.
Sorry, go ahead. The dry 30-inch line that is in College Street, and it extends all the way to electrical specialists. It's currently not in use. What we're going to do is tie the flow from an existing 18-inch pipe that's coming from the east part of town into that dry 30-inch at that point. So that will pick up all of that flow. It currently flows on in the existing 18-inch around the hospital and to Jackson, and that section of pipe is often overloaded, and it's flowing at capacity a lot of the time. So this will be a big improvement to get that flow into that 30-inch. Another detail of it is maybe it's more than you want to know, but right now the flow from the south end of town gets pumped by the South Lift Station up Main Street and over the hill and flows by gravity from there to Sweet Avenue. At that point, at Main and Sweet, it flows down Sweet. Well, there is an existing manhole there with a pipe continuing north to the 36 or the 30-inch that's dry. I'm better off showing you the photo, but this whole project is going to really help our situation as far as our volumes in these pipes and the aging pipes. So the reconstruction of that segment of 6th and the associated pipes, we had a bid opening March 14th. The engineer's estimate was $1.303 million, and the low bid was from Titan Technologies of Boise at $1,149,858. We did have 4 bids. 2 2 of them were deemed unresponsive due to a technicality. They didn't include the addendum forms in their proposal, which was clearly stated on the addendum, but they were not the low bidder. I did discuss that situation with Walter Steed earlier, and I think he had a good point that maybe we should, in the future, allow those contractors to just signify somewhere in the form that they did receive the addendums, rather than having them turn in the forms, only because in this case it didn't matter, but we could have had the low bidder here could have forgotten that. It would be a technicality that wouldn't be worth rejecting the bid, although we would need to legally. So we had 4 bidders. Low bidder was about 88% of the engineer's estimate, which was great. Titan Technologies, they also did our Phase 4 last year. We had good experience with them. They were good to work with, did a good job, so we're pretty happy about that. And we're requesting acceptance of the low bid and forwarding to council.
Can we see the pictures?
Pictures.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah. Please.
I mean, you went to the trouble, Kevin.
Yeah,
We should
really.
probably see the pictures.
You're right. In the upper left corner there, that's the corner of Gormley Park, where we pick up from Phase 4 with the 36-inch cross 6th Street, go southeast, jog around the back of the HR building, and then continue to College Street. That's all 36-inch. The existing stub in College is 36-inch. Where it starts the green pipe, that's 30. That's the dry 30-inch that's going on to the east part of town. And then this was just to show where that existing flow goes to the left there from the circle. That's Sweet Avenue. Once we open that, it can flow north to the dry 30-inch. And then the red line there in the lower right is the work that's going to be done at Electrical Specialist right along the frontage of Pat O'Connell's landscape, North Country landscape.
Is that in the asphalt or the concrete?
That part in front of Pat's, it's behind the curb.
Good, okay.
Yeah.
I could just see us digging up asphalt to have ITD have been through the week before.
I believe
redoing
it's in the
that.
concrete section.
Huh?
It's in the concrete section, which would make it more expensive.
But it's behind the curb?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's part of IDT's project.
No, they're only coming down to the concrete with their asphalt work.
Yeah. It's quite deep there. It's like 14, 15 feet deep. So they're going to need trench boxes and shoring. It's relatively narrow between the building and the curb. So something I wanted to show you was due to the complexity in 6th Street, JUB used the elevations and sizes of the pipes to try to get a 3D visualization to avoid collisions. Sometimes you open it up and something's just a little off and you cut it pretty close, but that was just one of their planning tools. And that's all I have on this one.
Which one's the new one in that?
The big one. And the first of the 2 green pipes there, one is the 24-inch, and this one on this side is a 36. Anyway, it was. We'll keep our fingers crossed when we open that up and hope everything goes as planned.
There's no water line work in this area?
Yeah. There is, let's see, there is an existing crossing that we are going to replace. It's old. We're going to put it in a sleeve. It's an 8-inch line. It's going to be in a 12-inch sleeve.
Okay. Gary, do you think this ought to be in open council so the public can know what we're doing, and while that's all going to be dug up this summer, or would it? I mean, we could easily consent it,
Sure.
but would it be better to do it out in the open and explain it so people have some idea of what they're seeing?
From a technical standpoint, I think it wouldn't hurt. The more we advertise that we'll have 6th Street torn up in the summertime probably isn't a bad idea. Council on Monday is looking, or Tuesday, depending on council's action. Looks like we should have room to talk about it in an open meeting if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd like to see it on. You did a great job of explaining it, and I think it would be good to, in the interest of transparency of what's going on there, I think that'd be great to have that presented again. So, sorry.
Right on.
It's more than just a contract, Kevin.
Think of it as
a
another.
really
it's a
big
gig.
deal.
You get a gig on.
A gig. You don't have a band.
Well, you're gonna have to solo acoustic this one, dude. Okay, so we're recommending this be put on the regular agenda for.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 4 on today's agenda is
Thanks, Kevin.
Water Department and Southeast Reservoir emergency power bid results and the contract award. And Scott Bontrager.
Just for purposes of the record, but you are recommending approval. You'd just like it discussed in open meeting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So we've got another generator project coming to you. We've done a couple generator projects here in the past couple of years. First one was at Fire Station number 1, and then last year we did at the Southeast Lift Station. So we're building up a few of these now. So this one is 2 new generators that the city is purchasing and put out to bid for general contractor to put in. This one's for the Water Department treatment facility and for the Southeast Reservoir. The 2 existing generators are at or past their useful life, are underpowered and needed replacing. So put out the contract for this one. We had solicited this on March 6th to 3 local companies, Grop, Strom, and Jeff's Electric. We had quite a few questions as they did the site walkthrough and kind of looked at everything. And when the day came, only Grop had actually turned in a bid for this project. So the one and only bid we had received was from Grop LLC at $41,743.63, of which the engineer's estimate for this was $35,675.56, leaving a little bit of a discrepancy between the two of them. So in discussion with both Grop and with our electrical engineer, our consultant for this project, kind of discussed where some of the discrepancies might have been, and we kind of did a little more analysis on that. Of the roughly $6,000 difference, the $1,000 permits that are required, electrical permit for this project, was not as part of the consultant, the electrical engineer's original estimate. And then talking with Grop, both the demo and installation had some more risks associated with it that after talking with the electrical engineer, he kind of agreed, looking at it from the contractor's standpoint, that he could see those as potential risks. With the demo side of it, it's excavation into an existing facility, trying to find underground lines, how much excavation is going to be necessary. There's certain risks associated with that, so they had more money in that particular portion of it. But other than that, staff would recommend acceptance of the low bid from Grop LLC and award the contract in the amount of $41,743.63 and authorize change orders in an amount not to exceed 10% of the contract. Grop has done the past 2 generator projects for us, and they've done an excellent job, sometimes going above and beyond compared to some contractors. So.
Okay.
I would rather have seen a second and third price, but we don't have it, and I don't have any problem with the number. So I'm okay with it.
Just out of curiosity, over the life of these generators, how many times have they been called into use? Would you say, or do you know?
Once a week, I presume.
I think Tyler could probably assist
see
with
if
that.
they work. They fire up automatically to see if they work like the one right outside the window here?
So they run weekly. All of our generators run weekly just to assure they go through an exercise cycle. You know, a diesel motor shouldn't sit for too long, and we have to keep turning the fuel over. And then the one at wells 2 and 3 is really critical because it's currently our only wells that have backup power. So if we lost power for an extended period of time, that's the only source of water for the city. And so that's a critical one. We have had power outages. So anytime we have a power outage, that generator kicks on. So if you can think over the last 5 years how many times you have power out downtown, then that generator's come on.
So it's worked a number of times.
Pretty necessary unit there.
Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, I think this is an item that could go on the consent agenda. It's pretty open and shut. And
Okay.
thank you for your presentation, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, moving on to item number 5 on today's agenda, well number 6 pump replacement. Bringing Kevin back for an encore presentation on that.
Backup dance for me.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Okay. Ron? The existing submersible pump that's in well number 6 has failed and it needs to be replaced. We would like to get it replaced. We're trying before summer irrigation system or season. It causes increased reliance on well numbers 2 and 3. So it has failed. We need to get it replaced as soon as possible. We have hired, or we're proposing to hire Welch Comer, who did an analysis of the failure of the last pump to assist us with writing the specifications. It turns out the previous pump was not the correct size. It was too small for that depth that it was moved to. There is that well. I don't know if you're familiar with that well, but it's kind of almost a corkscrew rather than a straight shaft. There's a straighter section of the well that the submersible pump should function more efficiently in without overheating. The pump is also going to be upsized. It'll still fit in the hole, but the technical specifications for the acquisition of the pump and the installation of that pump, we are hoping to use Welch Comer and Associates to prepare those specs. We also have an amount in this agreement for bid assistance and, for instance, answering technical questions on the pump acquisition and reviewing the submittals. That's an hourly basis, so if we don't need that, we won't use it. Also, during construction, if there are problems, we would like to have them on an on-call basis, and that is the difference between the $7,900, which they're proposing for the technical specifications, and the total amount not to exceed $16,450. So we're asking you to recommend to council that this agreement be executed.
Anybody have any questions on this?
How old is the pump that's in there?
The current pump isn't very old, which is one of the reasons that we really want to go through this process. As Kevin mentioned, I think, Walter, I believe it's 3 or 4 years old. It's, as Kevin mentioned, the bore shaft is terribly crooked, but this well produces some of our highest quality water. And we've just gone through a process of drilling a well 10, and we all know how expensive drilling a new well is. And so as much as we'd love to have a straight bore shaft, if we can get something that will work with our current bore shaft, it saves the city a lot of money. And so what we want to do with this is make sure that we cross all the T's, dot all the I's, and make sure that we have people who are very well versed in this type of work take a good hard look at this and make sure that we're getting the best possible scenario we can for the success of this well, so that we're not driven to have to look at far more expensive alternatives.
And how deep is it?
This well draws from, I think total well depth is about 800 feet, but we're drawing from around 600 less. Is that about 600 feet? I think is where this one draws from. Yeah, so significant amount of hydraulic head on this, and so when you any adjustment you make really can significantly change the setup of the well.
And a final question, what are you anticipating the actual pump contract to be?
I would ballpark, Walter, somewhere between $110,000 and $130,000 is what I would anticipate cost being by the time all's said and done. All the wiring, the new pump, it's all of the setup. I would guess that it would be somewhere in that range.
Okay.
Gina, anything?
I don't have any questions. I think we need to do it.
I think
I'm good with it.
it's the thing to do.
I would
That's
agree.
a consent agenda item, I think, to find out the best possible scenario.
Thank you. Sir?
Okay, if there's no further items to be considered today, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.